Just going to make sure that we are live here. Just check the feed. Always got to do that because technology can always have issues. And there we go. We seem to be live and looking good. So we're going to unbox a Galaxy S21. I've got that right here. While we get warmed up, I did get something from B&H Photo. So I figured I'd open that first while we let the video get out there and get a chance for some of you to jump in. I also have the Note 20 and the S20, both Ultras from last year. We're gonna just do some side-by-sides. I've got the top-down camera here. We can look at it. We can talk in the chat about the phones and just, you know, see what we think. Of course, this is going to be my initial, you know, startup of the phone. First time getting my hands on the phone, so that'll be great. But I did get some stuff in from B&H Photo, and it's super exciting. Super exciting. It's HDMI cables. So nothing super exciting from B&H Photo. No new cameras, no exciting anything like that, but very thin, high-speed HDMI cables that I need for cameras. So kind of exciting for me, I guess you could say. So we have in this box direct from Samsung, because I ordered it from them. You know, they had that promo, the pre-order, get the new version of the Galaxy Buds Live for free, and so I thought, why the heck not? Let's go ahead and order it from Samsung instead of getting it from Best Buy, which I normally do, because we have a Best Buy locally here, and if I have any issues, I can always go and take it back to Best Buy, or you know, if there's any problems. Samsung hasn't always been the greatest with customer service when it comes to purchasing retail from them. So when you do buy something from Samsung, you kind of just have to assume that you're going to be on your own unless you have a major problem. So I'm going to switch down to the top cam here. As you can see, it comes you know, pretty nicely packaged. We've got, you know, the packing slip there, and it's nicely wrapped in this material. This is actually pretty decent. I don't think I've had a device come to me so meticulously wrapped. It's usually just bouncing around in a box. So this is pretty interesting. We're still unraveling it here. I feel like I ordered some like vintage glass products or something. Okay, cool. So it actually did ship with the Galaxy Buds Pro. I was not expecting that because they said that they were on back order. So I'm super excited for that I have the Galaxy Buds Pro. I absolutely love last year's model. Last year's model of the Galaxy Buds, I was just blown away by the bass response and how much better they were at that than my AirPods Pro that I had. So I'm excited. We've got the phone here. We've got a smart tag that it came with, and then we also have the Galaxy Buds Pro. So just to kind of give you that top-down view, that's the setup that we have here. I am paying attention to the chat, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. As soon as we get these opened, I am going to compare them to both the Note 20 from last year. This is the Ultra, and the S20 Ultra from last year. So I have both devices here. We can kind of set them next to each other, do a little bit of side-by-side comparisons and all that good stuff. So so this comes sealed with a couple of seals here on the side, so we'll just go ahead and cut those opened with the Spyderco Paramilitary 2 here, and slide that open. And there we go. We've got a little protection card on top, and we've got the device itself, and I already know what lies beneath. It's basically not a whole lot, so there isn't much that comes with this device anymore. So we'll just go ahead and open this packaging. I'm guessing that maybe you open it from the end. Here we go. We'll see what comes in the box here. We've got some paperwork. We've got a charging cable. and that is it. So nice little USB-C to USB-C charging cable, but that is all that we're going to get. And I have a bajillion of these, so I'm just going to put it right back in the box, and we'll just put this stuff to the side. So as you can see, nothing else in the box other than the phone. I'm dropping stuff. So this phone, you know, I really like the look of it. Let's go ahead and peel that off. Peel that one off. And we've got the top one coming off here. So that's nice. Do we still have a screen protector? You know, the last couple of years of these phones have come with a screen protector installed. And I wanted to see if, in fact, there is a screen protector installed on this. And it does not look like there is one. If there is one, it's built so well that you can't even tell. I don't think it has a screen protector. It does not appear to have a screen protector. It does have all of the side plastic going all the way around it. Drives me up the wall because this stuff does not come off the easiest. So we'll go ahead and give it a try. Gosh, I have had too much coffee today. Started out the day pretty early. Needed coffee to get the day going. Had a coffee before lunch. Had another coffee, and I'm feeling it. All right, so we've got almost all of that plastic covering off. Looks like we've got it. So it's cold. It's cold up here. So this phone was probably in the back of a FedEx truck. And 20-degree temperatures, so it's a little chilly, this phone. So it looks really nice. I'm just blown away at the styling of this. I love the fact that this whole camera module is kind of integrated into the design instead of just being a protruding camera module like on the previous year phones. If you look at the Note 20 alongside of this, I really like it. The Note 20, I should probably take it out of the case so we can get a little bit better of a comparison. I've got this this UAG Urban Armor Gear case on the Note 20, and I absolutely love this case. So let's go ahead and set the phones kind of side by side so you can see this. I want to make sure that that this is in focus. It does maybe look a little out of focus to me. I want to make sure that everything is good and in focus. So give me just a second to make sure that that we have good focus going on here. And it looks like it is. So anyways, we've got, kind of a more of a matte aluminum brushed finish on the new S21. The glass back on the previous device here on the Note 20 Ultra. And then let's pull the S20 Ultra. I know I'm going to butcher these names eventually here. Let's pull this out. I had a spec case on this one. You can see the spec logo kind of there. So we've got all three of the phones side by side. Boy, they look pretty good. All of them look pretty good. But I do definitely really like the style of the S21. I think they did a great job here with this device. I'm going to go ahead and power this on while we kind of sit here and talk about these a little bit longer. Keep in mind that there's the chat. If you have any questions or you want to chime in, definitely ask away. If there's anything you want to see on the three of these devices as far as a comparison goes, feel free to chime in and make sure to smash that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm and all that good stuff so that other people are notified of the video as well. So yeah, great looking devices here. We've got the Note powering up, or not the Note, the S21 Ultra powering up, and we can go through some of the screens here just to check and see. Wash hands. Are you saying my devices are very smudgy? My hands are pretty clean. I just washed them prior to starting this video as soon as I got home, so no worries there. I'm going to put in my password really quick so that we can get logged into my Wi-Fi and continue to set things up here. go through the process. So what I love is that Samsung is getting away from the rounded edges of the device. If you look at, I probably should have actually cleaned my table is what I should have done. If you look at these phones kind of next to each other, this is the S20 from last year, the S20 Ultra. They don't look much different at all side by side. I know it's kind of hard to see from this camera, so I apologize. It doesn't seem to be focusing as nicely as I would like it to. They look very similar last year and this year's device. Of course, with last year's being a glass back and this being more of a matte finish black. So we are going to utilize my old device to copy the data over because I like the way that my S20 or my Note 20 is set up, and so I'm just going to move everything over, and so I need to do that. So use my old device, I'll hit next. We'll move it over from an Android. This is where cable may be a bit faster than Wi-Fi, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to grab the cable that I just put back in the box. So for those of you that are here watching, did any of you order one of these new Galaxy devices, you know, whether it be the Ultra or one of the other models? Did anybody order one? I would be interested to know. I didn't get this device from Samsung. They didn't send it to me. I got it from Samsung because I ordered it and paid the price, the full price, just like everybody else, which is fine. I actually like paying for the device because then I can say and review it however I want, and I don't have to feel like the phone manufacturer is going to penalize me and take me off of some special list, so I don't mind that at all. So we're copying over data and getting this set up. As I said before, I also have my Note 20 Ultra that I bought last year, only a few months ago, and I bought the S20 Ultra from last year, almost a full year ago. So we're going to go ahead and just transfer and copy over everything. We want to copy over our old accounts. That should be... Oh, I need to unlock my phone because it did go into a screen lock, and I need to hit copy and give it my thumbprint and let it go through its process. So now I need to enter passwords. That's the fun part. Constantly entering passwords. Feel free to chime in the chat if you have any questions about anything. I am going to work on getting this thing set up a little bit here now that we've unboxed it, and then we will try and do some side-by-side comparisons and try to, you know, just give you as close of a look as I can to these devices. I am going to head out this weekend and do a comparison between the cameras on some of these devices. The S21, they've talked so much about how good the camera is, and some of the people who did get their hands on one of these devices ahead of time have raved about the camera. I also have my iPhone 12 over here, my iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I think the iPhone 12 Pro Max is what I would really like to see it compared to. So if anybody has any thoughts or requests, definitely let me know. I'm going to be going out and testing the cameras, both photo and video, doing some side-by-sides, and do my best to put a video together comparing that hopefully within the next week here. So make sure to look forward to that. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to be pinged whenever I do put out a video. Okay, so we're going to register the fingerprint. I heard the fingerprint scanner on this phone beats the other ones hands down. It's a great experience, so I'm going to go ahead and do put in my PIN first, and then we will do the fingerprint process. So let's go ahead and do that. Now what is it doing? Did it just bypass that whole... I think it just bypassed the whole thing so that I could sign into my Samsung account. I went and touched my fingerprint down for a second, and then boom, it was gone. So I'm going to go ahead and put in a Samsung password here. real quick so that it can do its thing. So many logins on a to get a Samsung phone going. Okay, now I've got a code that I have to enter. Okay, 9. Verify. You're all set up. Great. Finish. Is it going to take me back? No, it's not going to take me back to the fingerprint. So I'm probably going to need to get my fingerprint set up again. So now it's transferring over the cable, transferring data from my Note 20, which I've been using, over to this phone. I haven't used my S20 Ultra in probably a few months. As soon as I got the Note 20, I kind of switched over to the Note 20. Prior to that, the S20 I was using a lot. I really liked it. It's got a decent camera, but the Note 20 did beat it, so I was pretty excited about that. So while we're on this camera angle here, let's just do a little bit of a comparison between the Note 20 and the S21 here. The Note 20 is just a smidge taller, not much at all. If you can see that there, it is just a smidge taller. And if we do kind of a top down, it's a little hard to see. Let me try and rotate it a little bit to get you the best view. The Note 20 does appear to be a little bit wider, but in parts of the phone it does appear to be a little bit skinnier or thinner. Of course, the camera module on the S21 is not just a hump anymore. It is part of the design of the chassis and comes all the way to the edge. So it makes this part of the phone look pretty thick in comparison to the Note 20 here. But I like it. The Note 20, you know, it's usually known for its flat edges. There is a little bit more of a rounded edge on the top of the S21, so I do like that. The flat edges, to me, are nice. I mean, they look really good, but at the same time, I don't know, I just... I like a little bit of the rounded edge. It feels better long-term to hold onto the phone when you're holding onto it all day long. So I need to keep the Note 20 plugged in a little bit longer here just while it finishes the data transfer. And of course the S20 is the S21 is loading up with all of the logins, downloading all the apps and all of that good stuff, as you can see. I haven't yet taken the SIM card out of this phone and put it in this phone yet, but I will as soon as the data is done transferring. So looking back here again at this camera module, I really like the design. I think they did a great job with the design here. It looks nice. It being integrated into the chassis, I feel like it's gonna feel a little bit better when you're holding onto the phone because there isn't such an abrupt camera hump sticking out of the back. I do like that. I feel like I could plane wood or grate cheese or something with the edge of this thing. It's just it's so sharp, and even though this phone does look really nice, the Note 20 here, I don't know, the S21, really nice looking phone. So anybody have any questions, definitely feel free to ask. I'm just kind of waiting for this process to get done so that I can disconnect. We'll go ahead and open the camera while we're here because I can open the camera for the first time. We've got, you know, it wants to let me know where I can find more modes and all that good stuff. So now we're looking through the camera just at the table here. Let me rotate the camera view. Focus enhancer turn on for better focus. Nice, I don't mind that at all. Scene optimizer button up here on the top. Down here, this is the focus enhancer on and off. So that's interesting. Look at what the focus enhancer does. I don't know if you can see it jumping here. Let me actually put my knife down in front so we have a subject here for you to see. And I'm going to hit that focus enhancer. So focus enhancer off, you can see the image. I don't know if you could see, but it looks a little soft on the edges. But then as focus enhancer comes on, it looks like it's maybe utilizing more than one camera, and it's much sharper. I mean, significantly sharper than focus enhancer being turned off. So that's pretty interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out in the real world when I'm out taking pictures. With scene optimizer turned on, it shows me a shoe. I'm not a big fan of the scene optimizer. Yeah, okay, focus enhancer off. Yeah, it's really interesting, the focus enhancer. I'm going to have to play with that and report back. So here is the, the 10x zoom. Obviously, the 10x zoom cannot focus this closely. Oh, nope, I take that back. Look at that. That is not too shabby. Let me try and tap on the logo there. That is... It's hard for you to tell. It's wanting to focus on my hand instead, but that is pretty tack sharp at full zoom. Then we go 3x, and 3x is pretty tack sharp as well. And we go 1x, very nice, and then we go 0.6x ultra wide. And we get all of those different views, which is awesome. If I go into the settings, typically one of the first things I'm going to do is turn off Scene Optimizer, because I don't want that turning on by itself. I don't like the Scene Optimizer. Shot suggestions, I don't need that on as well. I do want my camera to scan QR codes. I go into the options here, and I turn on raw copies, because I want a raw image out of my camera here, because if Samsung does its over processing kind of nonsense, I want more data in my image so that I can edit that image and bring back some of the colors or mute some of the colors that are too overly emphasized. Save selfies as previewed, selfie color tone natural, advanced recording options. Here we can turn on HDR10, turn on the high efficiency videos, and also the zoom mic settings. I'll just go ahead and leave those alone for now. Tracking autofocus, I want to turn that on. This has been getting much better, the autofocus tracking. I apologize, my heater downstairs just turned on, so I will work on turning that off while I continue to talk. The tracking autofocus is a feature that came with, I think it came 2 iterations ago, and it wasn't that good, so I turned it off. But now that this has the, it has that 4th camera in here for depth, I think that tracking autofocus is going to be absolutely fantastic. Pardon me while I, with my Nest here, turn eco mode on so that we don't end up with a loud heater downstairs where I am filming. So grid lines, I turn those on. Let me get back to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Grid lines, we turn that on. Location tags, I like that. Shooting methods, we'll just kind of pass through that. So what I'm not seeing is my video resolution options here. I'm not seeing that, and that used to be under this setting. So we'll go ahead and hit use, or go ahead, set that, go into video mode. Maybe we need to be in video mode. Okay, now we have our settings here instead. So FHD auto is what it's set to. I can go to UHD 60, and then I can also switch up to 8K 24. Usually, like, UHD 60 is where I stay, because I like having that high frame rate in case I do want to do some sort of a slow motion. So I tend to set that. So those are the settings that I tend to kind of mess with on the camera. Let's test the selfie camera while we're here. I think we are still backing up. Doing the data transfer. Yeah, it says don't disconnect the cable. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to the selfie camera. It says choose a color tone. I'm going to leave it on natural and tap off here. And let's just go ahead and take a picture. All right, so let's switch to the top-down camera. I'll show you the picture. It looks pretty good. You know, I didn't choose any modes. I didn't do anything at all. I didn't use a portrait mode or whatever, and that image is pretty good. I know it's a little hard to tell the details here with this camera and a little bit of reflection. So what I'll probably do is maybe like post this to Twitter. So if you want to see it, go follow at Jared Hill on Twitter. It's at JERADHILL. So I'll post that a little bit later. Move to OneDrive. Of course, it wants me to use OneDrive for backup. I'm going to hit no. And to see landmarks and places named in the geolocations, turn on show place names. Sure, we'll go ahead and do that. Yeah, so not too bad. Not too bad. I'm digging it so far. I'm excited about the camera, and I'm excited about testing it against these other phones that I have here. The S20 Ultra from last year and the Note 20 Ultra as well. So I'm excited to test these and get out there and see how they compare. And then of course with the iPhone 12 Pro Max as well, we want to compare that. So is it 4K? Jalen is asking here. 4K is in the camera or the screen. The camera does shoot 4K video, and it shoots up to 8K video. The display is not 4K. We can go into the settings really quick and take a look at that. We'll go into display, and motion smoothness is set to adaptive, which means it does have 120 hertz, or I can go down to 60 hertz. Adaptive is great because not all the time is it going to be running at 120 hertz. So the screen resolution, I can go all the way up to 3200 by 1440, which essentially is about 2.5K, 2K, somewhere in there. It's not 4K resolution. But FHD Plus is like, it's above HD. You can go down to regular HD as well, but I'm just going to leave it at the FHD Plus. I've never really needed to go and set the screen resolution. I apologize, I was on the wrong camera. I wanted to show you that I've never had to go and set the screen resolution to the highest level other than just to kind of play with it. So here's the screen resolution options. We have the HD Plus, the FHD Plus, and the WQHD Plus as well. And it kind of gives you an example of what to expect up here, although I doubt that the FHD Plus is going to be as pixelated as that little preview. But, you know, if you really want those high-end pixels, you can go ahead and do that. And the motion smoothness option here, of course, with the 120 hertz, that's going to be nice. You can see. Of course, this is not going to translate because the cameras and what you're seeing is not going to represent 120 hertz. So you're not going to be able to see how buttery smooth that is unless you really see it in person. It's kind of tricky. So I'm excited to get out and start using this phone. I wish that this backup process here would go a little bit faster, but it is what it is. We've got the Note 20 Ultra right here. We've got the S21 Ultra, and then I've got the S20 Ultra from last year. So let's talk for a few seconds about this phone. I used this phone quite a bit. You can see it's, I mean, as a screen protector that it came with, and there's some little scratches. I don't know, it's not really too easy for you to see those little scratches. Oh, you could probably see them there. I could see them in the screen now. There's quite a few scratches in the screen protector that came on this device. So and my experiences with these Samsung devices is the screen gets scratched up pretty easy. And Samsung will charge you an arm and a leg to change out the screen. So I highly recommend that. Oh, all done. Awesome. We'll hit close, and we can go ahead and unplug this and get this cable out of there. So this background here, this motion background, looks pretty cool. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful display. Of course, Samsung has never been a slouch when it comes to the display, so you know I'm not worried about that at all. The displays always have looked absolutely fantastic. So it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I'm going to do a camera comparison between these three devices. I'm not going to go too in-depth with last year's devices, but I do want to compare the S21 Ultra to these devices. And then, of course, I think the big one is going to be finding out if it can hold itself up against the 12 Pro, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, because that is kind of the most consistent camera that's out there. The most consistent camera for a long time on a smartphone has been the iPhone's camera. Not that it is always the best in all areas, but it is consistently good, and it is like bug-free. It always works fast. So I'm looking forward to shooting some photos with this particular phone, the S21 Ultra. So videos that I have coming up for the S21 Ultra, the first one is going to be the camera comparison. And I live in Montana, so I'm going just around and find some beautiful scenes. It is winter here, so there's snow everywhere, but I am going to go and shoot some photos with this, shoot some video so that we can do some comparisons. But I also have a case video. Now, the case companies that make cases for these devices, they're crazy. They send out tons of cases, and even though I tell them I don't want tons of cases, I just want like one good one, they send me box loads of cases. So I thought it would be fun to do a live stream where I'm just like opening up cases and trying them on, and we're talking about the phone together. So if that sounds like something that you would find interesting, make sure you're subscribed to the channel here so that you get notified when I put that video up. I'll schedule that live stream so that you know when it's coming up. So make sure you turn on notifications so that you get notified when that comes up. Lots of phone cases. So before we get done here, unless anybody has any questions, thanks for those of you that have given this video a thumbs up. I really appreciate that. That helps the YouTube algorithm and all that good stuff, as you know. We also have the Smart Tag, which I think is going to be really interesting to see what can be done with these smart tags. We know that Apple is working on their own version of some sort of like smart tag, but I'm interested to see what we can do with one of these smart tags as apps start integrating the ability to unlock something. Like imagine me being able to tap my car keys or something and make my remote start vehicle turn on, or unlock my door, or something interesting like that. I'm also really interested in testing out these Galaxy Buds Pro, because the Galaxy Buds from last year, really the live version, I guess not necessarily the Galaxy Buds from last year, but the Galaxy Buds Live were so stinking good. I absolutely love them. Even if I had switched back to my iPhone for a little while, I would be using my Galaxy Buds Live on my iPhone because they're just so good. So this case, really reminiscent of the Galaxy Buds Live case from last year. You open it up, beautiful little devices here. If I turn on the screen, let's go ahead and get my screen on here. It didn't register my fingerprint, so I think I was pushing buttons a little too fast, and it just went right past the fingerprint. So you can see here, all I did was open up the case, and I can go ahead and connect these guys easily, and it just takes a few seconds and they're connected. My Galaxy Buds Pro, they're connected, 100% charged, awesome. Now I'm ready to go and I can listen to some music. Let me see, if Spotify has already installed. I'll log into Spotify really quick and just throw those things in my ears and give you an quick little initial impression of those as to whether or not they're worth it. I do not know if I will come back and actually do like a review of them, but we'll see. If they're amazing, I probably will come back and do a review of them. So let's go ahead and throw these in my ears. Probably going to need to change out the tips on them, because most of the time I do have to change the tips out on my headphones in order to get a good enough seal to get the audio quality. So something really interesting is the noise cancellation. I can hear my voice, and it sounds interesting. The noise cancellation I heard is really good on these. So let's go ahead and just play something that I know is good and that I would want to hear. Let's turn this up. They do sound really good, but the bass isn't there. And I know I could probably go and make some settings changes and maybe change out the tips there. I'm going to look really quick and see if there's different tips, because the bass is not there in comparison to the Galaxy Buds Air, or Live, sorry, not Air, Live from last year. So there might be some tips. We'll see here if that's what's in this box, is some larger tips for those, because that is typically what I have to do on my headphones, is put in the bigger tips. So let's just take a look at this together. So the tips here, yeah, these look quite a bit bigger. So I'm just going to change these out really quick just to kind of give you guys and whomever's in here a little bit better of an opinion. Because, like I said, the Galaxy Buds Live blew me out of the water. I was so surprised at the bass response out of those tiny things. I absolutely loved it. So, okay, I've got those changed out. Let's go ahead and throw these back in my ears and see if we have more bass response. All right. Wrong phone. Here we go. Right phone. Okay. Song's gonna come in. I don't know. They are really good. Don't get me wrong. They are really good. So you know, the look on my face may say different, but I think what I was expecting was to get like punched in the sides of my head, like the Galaxy Buds Live did when I put those things in my ears, and those didn't need any tips changed out on them in order to sound really good. Those things, the bass on them was pretty amazing, and way better than the bass response on AirPods Pro. So I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to listen to them a little bit longer and see what happens. But that is the stuff that I got in. I've got, like I said, the 3 different phones here: the Note 20 Ultra, the S20 Ultra, and the brand new S21. So I'm just going to put it out there. If anybody has any questions and they want to ask, we'll go ahead and answer them. Otherwise, I'm probably going to call this live stream quits for now, because I don't really have anything else to talk about until I get out and test the S21 Ultra, which I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a camera comparison. I'm going to move into a general review in a separate video, and then I may even compare this phone to the Note 20, because even though the S21 has S Pen support, and hey, that's maybe something I can test out really quick. Is let's see if I could pull out the S Pen from this device over here, and if it will work on this device right here. So let's go ahead and unlock my S21 Ultra. I don't think I've seen anybody try to do this yet, so let's figure this out together. I've got music playing out of the device, and I don't want that happening because I do not want to get a copyright claim. So hey, look at that. Look at that. It works. And even holding the S Pen close to it, it brings up the S Pen settings, which is awesome. This is the S Pen out of the Note 20, and the Note 20 is sitting right here. So you would think that the Note 20 would connect to its S Pen or whatever, because you know this is a powered S Pen for the Note 20. But if I tap on the screen, it brings up the S Pen Air Command settings, which is great. Let's go ahead and create a note, and let's just write in here really quick. You know, this response isn't too bad. You know, this isn't too bad. I'm liking this so far. I love the fact that this does have S Pen support. I really do wish that it had support for, you know, holding an S Pen somehow. I'm not a big fan of that case that is going to hold a different type of S Pen in the side of it. But hey, you know, that just is what it is. I guess, you know, they can't really cannibalize sales of all of their... oh, come on. I need to turn that swipe up off. That drives me up the wall. They can't cannibalize Note sales altogether by including an S Pen. They need to make some things unique and different about it. So that was fun. I didn't even think about that. So I'm glad you guys are asking questions in the chat because, you know, I probably wouldn't have come up with that on my own. I'm being sarcastic. But anyways, so is the S Pen really useful? Oh gosh, you know, the S Pen is useful in certain situations. There have been times that I have needed to take a screenshot of something, and drawing on it with your fingertip does not make a fine enough selection or allow you to draw a fine enough line. That is where I really love the S Pen, is the fact that you can draw a nice fine line on whatever it is that you are needing to draw on, whereas using your fingertip on a device, it just isn't that good of an experience. And it doesn't matter whether it's an Android phone or an iPhone or whatever. The S Pen has just always been fantastic, and that's why people who are Note users that have a Note typically are diehard and always have a Note because they've really gotten used to using that S Pen. If you are not used to using some sort of a stylus with a smart device and you get a Note 20 or a Note that has a stylus, or even the S21 and get a stylus for it, it's probably going to take some forcing yourself to getting used to using a stylus like that. Otherwise, you know, you might just end up carrying it around with you or having a Note 20 and not using the S Pen at all. So it does have some useful things. I've never really used the S Pen to like control the camera or do anything like that. I would always use a smartwatch to do that. Whether I'm on a Samsung or if I'm on the iPhone at the time with an Apple Watch, I would use the camera app on whatever smartwatch it is. I can trigger the camera remotely, and I like that a little bit better because you can see a preview of the camera on the watch, which is nice. It works really well on the iPhone and the Apple Watch. It works okay depending on what collection of smartwatch and phone it is that you have. So, yeah, it is hard to tell which phone is which. If I put all of these face up, unless I really take a look and analyze them for a second, it takes me a second to realize which phone is which. So that's funny. But from the back, of course, the S21 is very unique with its new integrated module into the chassis here, instead of it being just a hump that comes straight out of the back of the phone. We'll take one last look here. It's a little hard with the reflections here to see, but you know, we've got the camera hump here. This is, of course, the Note 20 right here, and then we have the S20 right here next to it. So from the S21 to the S20, I mean, the S21 kind of makes the S20 look a little dated, just because they did such a nice job with that integration and the design of the camera module over here. So the S21 definitely does look like a new device, whereas the S20 now starts to look a little old. But, you know, it's still a great phone. Last year's phones are still great phones. It's only little changes that come up every year that that make the incremental upgrades that take several years really for there to be a big difference between, you know, a device. So like this S20, of course, has a lot of differences in comparison to maybe like the S10 from a few years ago or the S9, but in comparison to the S20 Ultra from last year, really just design and a little bit of under the hood differences. So is the camera better than the iPhone, Nancy? You know, that is one thing that I am going to discover. Earlier in this live stream, I did a little bit of a test, just looking at the camera here on camera and showing you what I see. But obviously, it's not a very good look at the camera. I can show you a couple of things. Let's go ahead and put it on the camera and kind of show you here what I was looking at earlier. So this camera has a focus enhancer, which I think is really going to to change things. You could even see it right here, like locking on the subject. And this is going to be interesting. So there's the focus tracking. That's this this yellow box that maintains focus on something that you tap. I love that. It was pretty useless on previous versions of these phones, but now that the phone has that like whatever sensor that is, I don't know if it's LiDAR or what it is. It is checking the depth between your phone and the subject, whatever it is, or object, and constantly working to maintain focus, which is definitely going to be really nice. If you turn off this focus enhancer, it's interesting. It kind of changes the camera and makes the edges of your photo look a little soft. I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. If it's because the camera is really close to the subject right now, and so there's some softness because of the depth of field. That could very well be it. But when I put on the focus enhancer, boy, it enhances the focus of everything that is in that scene quite a bit. So I'm excited for that. We've got the ultra wide here. We've got the 3x, and so I mean I'm super close to this box right now, and the focus is locked on, which is absolutely cool. If I go 10x, now I've got to bring the phone back a little bit here, but as soon as I tap, you can see it brings that right back in focus. And this is close. This is close focus, macro close as far as the focus goes. So I'm really interested in doing some tests and some comparisons. I'm going to be comparing it against the iPhone 12 Pro Max in a video. That's one that I definitely want to compare it to. And then I also have the Note 20 Ultra from late last year that I'm going to compare it to also. And so you'll want to make sure to subscribe to the channel here if you're not already, and turn on notifications, because it'll probably be maybe mid next week I will have that video up. I'm going to go out later today, do some shooting. I'm going to go this weekend and do a little bit of shooting. I may even drive and try to get as far as I can into Glacier National Park, because I live in Montana, about 30 minutes away from Glacier National Park. So I may do that, because a phone that's been hyped up as much as this one is, and then of course we know the iPhone 12 Pro Max has fantastic cameras, you need to go somewhere really nice to do the comparisons. And so as long as weather permits, I'm going to make a little bit of a trek and do that. Hey, what's up, Tech for Your Needs? Hello, and thanks for joining us here. We have been looking at the Galaxy S21 Ultra. This is the black finish. I think there's a official name for it, but the black finish I went with. I just like that look. This is the 512 gig option. I don't know why I went with the 512. I always seem to for some reason. And I think this year I felt compelled to do that because it does not have expandable storage anymore, and that worried me a little bit, that I couldn't just throw an SD card in the back of it. So I think the last thing that I'm going to do here is throw my SD card in it. I want to pull that SIM card slot out just to look at it, because if you've ever seen a SIM card slot from an older version of the phone here, let's go ahead and Phantom Black. Yes, thank you. I knew that there was a fancy word in front of the word black. So let's go ahead and pop the SIM out of my Note 20. The SIM trays are massive usually, because there's room for your SIM card, and then there's also room for your micro SD card, and there just is not that in this new phone. So I'm going to pop out the SIM tray here so that we can see what that SIM tray looks like. It's probably going to be nice and small. Yes, it is. It's tiny. And what's frustrating to me, hopefully it is... hopefully there is eSIM functionality on this phone. Samsung last year, for both the S20 and the Note 20, said that there's dual SIM support. But that is kind of a lie. I think that there is dual SIM support if you buy the international version of the phone, which is not typically available in the US unless you buy it from a seller that has the international version. It's putting in the SIM, of course, it's going to restart the phone. But I was never able to find a way to get dual SIM functionality in last year's S20 Ultra or the Note 20 Ultra. And so I'll be interested to see if, in fact, there is dual SIM here in the United States on the S21 Ultra, or if we got skunked again and we simply got a phone that only has one SIM. I think these days phones need to be dual SIM, especially a flagship phone like this. The iPhone 12 Pro Max, most of the iPhones of the last few years are all dual SIM. And for me, I have my personal line and I also have my business line going to the same phone, so I don't have to carry multiple phones, because I wanted to say decades, but for like a decade, I carried two phones. Actually longer than that, because even before smartphones, I was carrying two phones, like two Nokias or a BlackBerry and a Nokia back in the day. But now I like to just carry one phone and have both numbers going to that phone. So I thought really quickly I would just go into the phone settings and let's see if there is some sort of eSIM option. So let's go into the settings. We'll go into connections together here, so maybe we can all be disappointed at the same time. We'll go into mobile networks, and so far I am not seeing anything about a secondary network. We've got Verizon here because that is the SIM that I have in the phone, but I'm not seeing anything in here that would have to do with a secondary. Let's go to more connections. No, all we have is nearby device scanning, VPN, private DNS. We don't have anything in here that looks like it would give us access to a second like an eSIM or something like that, which is a real bummer. I don't understand why Samsung has done that. I know back in the day they had phones that were dual SIM and they actually took two SIM cards. You had behind the battery, when you used to be able to remove the battery, you'd have two SIM card slots, and that was absolutely fantastic. I used to love that. I'd have two lines in one phone. So Alex, hey there, I just got my S21 Ultra now. Awesome. Enjoy it. And I'm enjoying it here. We've been kind of enjoying it together for the last 50 or so minutes. Buster asks, which one do you like better? If you're referencing the Samsung phones, because on camera here I have the Note 20 Ultra and I also have the S20 Ultra. I mean, obviously I like the S21 Ultra better. What I do really love about this phone is just the beautiful design. I think that it is a lot better than a massive module that just pops out of the back, like these other phones. They've you know, we've been complaining about big camera humps for a long time, and Samsung said, you know what, like, we're not going to be able to get away from it because you guys want thin phones and you want big cameras. But what we're going to do is we're going to design it a little bit better, and they definitely did that, and it's absolutely great. You know what? I have not done a 5G speed test, and I'll tell you why. I live in Montana, and so I will do. Let me see if the speed test app has installed. It is downloading a lot of apps, so I could either use the speed test app if it has installed, and it has installed. Keep in mind that my phone is downloading apps. Let's see, keep this app while in use. Yes, okay, allow. Keep, yes, done. So keep in mind, well, I'm connected to Wi-Fi, so I need to disconnect from Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi is laughable as well because I'm in Montana. So let's do this together. This is LTE Plus because I'm here in Montana. So I would have to go probably over into Washington or down pretty far down into Idaho to get some good speeds. You're not going to like my speeds, I'll tell you that much. My speeds are not that great. This is what I can expect, and it is very usable. Alex is asking, when did you move to Montana? I did live in California. I've been in Montana almost a full year now, since we moved to Montana. We planned to move to Montana almost 2 years ago now, and pulled off the move in pretty early spring of last year. So you can see my speeds are not great. You know, we've got 12 down and 3.5 up. That is that is definitely not that great. You know, I didn't move up here for the fast internet speeds. I moved up here for the big sky, beautiful mountains, Glacier National Park, biggest lake west of the Mississippi. I moved up here for all of those things. I do miss some aspects of California, like the beautiful beaches, but you can always go and visit those beaches. So yes, I am jealous of your 600 megabytes per second. I did see that video with Marquez. Was it Marquez, I think, that did a speed test, a 5G speed test, and it was pretty amazing. I've also seen some other people do some 5G speed tests, and it does make me a little sad on the inside that I don't get those speeds. But nonetheless, there's nothing that I'm doing, there's nothing that most of us are doing that needs that kind of speed. We're not doing things, we're not really doing anything from our phones at that level. Of course, with speeds like that, you can live stream video in 4K, probably, I mean, you'll eat up your data plan pretty quick, but you can do some cool things with speeds that fast. We will eventually get them here, but it's probably going to take a couple more years for that to happen. Yeah, Montana is beautiful. Highly recommend visiting, coming up here and checking it out. It is fantastic. I'm in a city called Kalispell, which is pretty small. Some wouldn't call it a city because of its size, but it is beautiful up here. So awesome. We have spent the last hour looking at this phone with some of you in here chatting, which has been great. We've kind of done a little bit of a comparison looking at the build and all of that. We looked at the camera a bit. We talked about some of the features. Obviously, the design being a big one. I tested out the Galaxy Buds Pro, which I have mixed thoughts on. I'm going to listen to them a bit more. And when I do my review of the S21, I will give a little bit more of an opinion on those. You know, still coming off of just being so amazed by the Galaxy Buds Live. You know, I'm not as excited about these Galaxy Buds Pro from this year. But whatever, we'll see what happens, and I'll come back with more thoughts in a later video. So thank you everybody for being here and watching this live stream. I enjoyed unboxing this and just getting to talk, because one thing that I lost when I moved up here was being able to just hang out and talk tech with some people, and so it's been kind of fun hanging out with all of you in here. So thanks for the thumbs up. Make sure, if you haven't yet, smash that thumbs up before you leave. I have that camera comparison that I'm going to be working on very hard to get done and get put up for all of you, comparing it against the iPhone 12 Pro Max and probably even the Note 20 Ultra from last year. So make sure that you're subscribed so you can get notified when that comes out. But unless anybody has any parting questions, I am going to get moving. I'm going to go outside and play with this phone in the yard a little bit. There's a little bit of snow out there. You know, the skies aren't looking that great, but I'm hoping maybe things will clear up and we'll get a cool sunset and I can take my first picture with that 10x zoom and see if we can get some good details out of it. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for smashing that thumbs up, that like button, and I hope to see you back in a couple of days with that camera comparison. Other than that, connect with me on social media, at Jared Hill on pretty much all the social medias. I'll update the link in the video description below here in a few minutes. And then, of course, at State of Tech as well. You can find us, and we'll continue the conversation. But that's going to do it. So enjoy. Have a fantastic weekend wherever you are, and we'll see you back here soon. Take care.